let me ask you something. When was the last time someone actually taught you how to think? Now, not what to think, but how. How to think. Because if you're like most girls, well, school taught you how to memorize, repeat, and follow instructions. But thinking for yourself, well, that, my friend, that is not on anybody's lesson plan. And yet, it's the foundation for real confidence. That's why in my confidence recipe, grit plus moxie plus critical thinking equals confidence. This ingredient of critical thinking, and you know it's my favorite ingredient, might also be the most important one. So today, let's talk about what school forgot to teach you about thinking for yourself and how learning to question things can completely change the way you see the world and yourself. So, what does school teaches us versus what life requires? Well, in school, we're rewarded. We're rewarded for getting the answer right. And we get good grades, gold stars, and applause for following directions. But life doesn't come with an answer key. No. In life, confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from being curious enough to figure things out. And to figure things out, you have to have that skill. And that's what we're working on. And that's the problem. Most of us were trained to value approval more than understanding. We learn to raise our hands, right? Wait our turn. Never question the teacher. Oh, no. But here's the truth. Sometimes, actually a lot of times probably, the teacher in life is wrong. And sometimes the authority figure or that trend or even your friend group, they don't have it figured out either. So if you don't learn to think for yourself, you're going to spend your whole life depending on someone else to tell you what to believe or what to think. And trust me, there are plenty of people out there that are going to tell you what to think. I mean, I see so many girls today struggling with confidence, and I get it. It is hard to know who you are when everyone's shouting what you should be. That problem isn't that you don't believe in yourself. It's that you were never taught to challenge what you believe about yourself. Confidence isn't built by repeating affirmations. Oh, and I hate when everybody tells you that's how it's built. It's built by questioning. You've got to question your assumptions. Let me say that again. Confidence grows when you start questioning your assumptions. If you think you're not smart enough, not pretty enough, or not popular enough, ask, who told me that? Like, where did that come from? How did I begin to believe that? Where did that story come from? And what if it's not even true? And most of the time, it's not. And that's critical thinking. And it's how you take back power from every system, every stereotype and stranger that ever made you doubt your worth. Let's be real. The world benefits when girls don't question things. When we're quiet and polite and compliant, we're easy to manage. We don't rock the boat. Yeah, but the truth is every major change in history started because someone, often a woman, asked a question everyone else was afraid to ask. Why not me? Why not now? Why does it have to be this way? That's why I say critical thinking isn't just a skill. It's an act of courage. It's what keeps grit and moxie from burning out. Because when you think for yourself, you stop living someone else's script. And you start writing your own. So what does real critical thinking look like? Well, thinking for yourself doesn't mean rejecting everything or arguing with everyone. It just means being curious. It means taking a pause before you react. It means asking why and actually listening to the answer. Let's say everyone at school is obsessed with a trend or let's say an opinion online. I mean, you don't have to pick a side in 5 seconds. You can say, I'm still thinking about that. That one sentence, I'm still thinking about that, shows more maturity than half the adults online. And critical thinking, it looks like this: reading something and checking the source. And with today's technology, that is so easy. Or how about hearing gossip and asking, do I know that's true? Just ask the question. Noticing when someone's trying to sell you something, oh God, and it's every day, everywhere, somebody's trying to sell you something. Even if it's not a product, but an idea. That's how you build a mind that can't be manipulated. And that's what real confidence sounds like. When I was younger, I thought confidence meant like just, being loud or bold. Like, these girls just seemed so sure of themselves, the way they carry themselves. But as I got older, I realized that some of those loudest people, they were also the most insecure people. They weren't confident. They were performing confidence. Remember the costume confidence. The quiet kind that comes from thinking for yourself. Oh, that's the kind that lasts, because nobody can take it from you once you've earned it. And that's why I wrote Mixed or Rise, a girl's recipe for confidence that grows with her. Because confidence isn't something you fake or buy. It's something you build. One question, one choice, one act of critical thinking at a time. So, here's your challenge this week. And catch yourself before you automatically agree with something. Just pause. Ask why. Because the moment you start thinking for yourself, I mean really thinking, that's when you stop needing everyone's approval. And that is where true confidence begins. So go ahead and tell me in the comments, what's one belief you've been rethinking lately? And remember, grit plus moxie plus critical thinking equals confidence. You've already got the recipe. Now it's time to start cooking up your own kind of power.